Who would win in a fight? Jeremiah Johnson or a young predator out to prove himself?
I think you're basically describing the movie Prey, which is, in my opinion, it's a great movie. It's one of the best Predator movies.
Yeah.
And everyone should watch it.
We'll be talking about it soon.
Oh, all right. Well, and I guess that movie is proof positive that like a Native American can beat a predator. And since Jeremiah Johnson can beat any Native American on Earth, then he can beat a predator. So, I mean, yeah, Jeremiah Johnson, he whoops a predator. He takes him out every time, nine times out of 10.
That's what the conclusion I came to as well. If Jeremiah Johnson wins, it's Robert Redford.
Yeah, nothing can beat Robert Redford. Oh no, Robert Redford actual death. Oh no.
Oh wait. Oops.
Oh no.
And to start us off, hello and welcome to The Popcorn Isn't Real. I'm Leif Eric. I'm here with my co-host Torvald.
Howdy.
And this is the podcast where we talk about fan theories and films. And today we are talking about Jeremiah Johnson, a movie featuring the star we've been discussing, Robert Redford.
Oh, I'm so sad about Robert Redford dying. I think he was such a cool guy.
He's not a Hollywood guy. He just wanted to live in Park City, Utah,
and he wanted to
just start his own film festival. And
the crazy thing is, he was a Hollywood guy, right? Like he was. He
was huge.
He just wanted to be like a survivalist. He just wanted to be like living off the land.
He just wanted to be Jeremiah Johnson.
He just wanted to be Jeremiah Johnson. Why do so many people watch and admire and talk about, and why are they so active in even the modern zeitgeist? All of those like Clint Eastwood movies, like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, for example. Why is that such a classic when Jeremiah Johnson exists?
Oh,
and like, if you're gonna watch a movie about like the Old West and living outdoors and in the wilderness, Jeremiah Johnson. That's the movie. That is the movie.
Yeah. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Does it have like a prologue that's just music?
Yeah.
For
exactly.
2 whole minutes? Does it have an intermission? An entr'acte?
Yeah, an entr'acte. No, yeah. Jeremiah Johnson is a movie that knows exactly what it is. And it makes sure that its audience knows that too. Because it starts you off with a riveting 3 solid minutes of a still image and the text overture. Well, they literally play.
Then it has the opening credits.
And then it has credits. This is before the credits, before even the WB logo.
You might as well do the overture during the opening credits, right? Mm-hmm. But no. The overture gets its own thing. Mm-hmm. Then you have the opening credits, which is just text and music, right? Like it's nothing special.
Well, and then a narrator starts talking. Like Disney's Robin Hood cartoon style narrator, like explaining Jeremiah's situation, maybe whistling a tune. Well, no. First, he's not whistling. He just explains Jeremiah's entire situation. He says, here he is. He's getting off the boat. He's doing this. He wants to go live out, in the wilderness. He's going to buy a gun. Wants to be a mountain man. And then, out of nowhere, the narrator just starts singing. And he sings a song that is literally a song about everything he just explained through his words. He's like, and just in case any of you don't understand spoken language, here is the sung language.
And
I'm gonna sing it
that
for you.
Song that he sings is not the 3-minute overture.
No, it's a completely different song. And it's another 3-minute song. It's the greatest,
turn this on,
combined 10-minute start
solid
of this movie.
Minutes.
I mean, geez. Oh, what a movie. It's so good.
He's not done singing, though. He sings throughout the rest of the movie. He constantly comes back in.
As much as I wish that was true. Yeah, you're overselling it a bit. It's not like he never stops singing for the next 2 hours, which would be pretty cool. He does fade in and out there. But yeah, the narrator is kind of omnipresent. He's always ready with a little tune. With a little tippity-da-dee-dee-do-do.
Which is not the tune he sings.
No. But when I imagine him, it is. But then, we're not done because about 1 hour and 20 minutes in, when a normal movie would be wrapping up,
ending,
that's when we get to enjoy another minute or two of like more singing, followed by 3 more minutes of interact. and 2 words on screen displayed, so I know how they're spelled. It's ENTR apostrophe space.
Right,
ACTE. So it's not interact, it's interact. Whatever that means. Oh man, what a movie.
Well, and that's after the intermission. On screen, there's text that shows up that says intermission.
There's also an intermission, yes.
So at the point when a normal movie should have ended, you get intermission telling you you're only halfway through this movie. And the intermission is just it's black, nothing.
It's a black screen
followed by the interact where the guy sings some more.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay, but I have to give it credit. I gotta give credit to Jeremiah Johnson. Every single scene in this movie looks exactly like a snowy mountainscape painting that you would like hang on the wall of your house. Like, not just because of the backdrop, but because of the amazing framing and camera work. Like, the people who made this movie, they knew what they were doing. Like, they were very, very deliberately making exactly the movie they made. Jeremiah Johnson was filmed not just in this gorgeous, outback of, rugged America, but it was also Robert Redford's own backyard. Like they were just filming on Robert Redford's land because he's just that much of a badass. Apparently, what happened was like they didn't know where they were going to film. They didn't know. They were thinking of lots of different places. They wanted to do it on location. The studio was like, we can't do that on location. Are you guys insane? You're not going to lug camera crews up into a mountain in the winter and freeze?
An actual mountain.
And then so they were like, well, maybe we'll do it in Spain. We could like go to Spain and do it. But then apparently Robert Redford was, I don't know why that was the answer.
Robert Redford pulled a Freddy Krueger and was like, let me handle this bitch.
Well, right. He was like aghast. He was like, no, we're not going to film a movie about like, rugged, cold-blooded, red-blooded America in Spain. So he's like, we'll do this on my land. He's like, hey guys, you know what? I own like 1,000 acres of just like straight up forest in Zion National Park. And he's like, why don't we just film there? So that's where they did it. They just filmed it on Robert Redford's own land. And also he footed the bill. He was like, he agreed that if the movie went over budget, then him and Pollack, which I hope he just agreed by way of Pollack.
Yeah, the director.
The director. He agreed that they would cover any overages out of their own pockets. So like Robert Redford was just like, he was so invested in this movie. He was so ready to be Jeremiah Johnson. It's like he was made for this role. Oh, man.
And the story that you told me was that this decision came about. I don't know if this is true. This decision came about because they were talking about shooting the scene where he splashes around in a freezing cold river. And they were like, where are we going to shoot this? And he was like, well, I have a freezing cold river.
Right, yeah. He's like, I got one of those.
In my backyard.
Let me just splash around in it for a while. No, seriously, yes.
And I'm pretty sure that's just how Robert Redford wakes up in the morning. Or he would wake up every morning and just go splash around in the freezing cold river. And some rando would walk by and just kind of stare at him like, and then keep going.
No. It is crazy. Like, Robert Redford, he is actually so freaking hardcore. Like, just 15 minutes into this movie, Robert Redford, the actor, is standing in a massive snowbank looking at a frozen river, and he just throws himself into it and starts thrashing around in there and actually catches a fish with his bare hands. And then he has to let it go because the movie called for him not to catch the fish. But he like catches it and holds it up, and then he's like, oh, I lost it. Oops. Oh man, he's so cool. Like, he's so hardcore, he couldn't not catch that fish. He's like, muscle memory like, took over. It's like, this is just how I get my breakfast.
Caught a fish.
Oh man. It's so cool.
Uh,
Yeah, that was just his river. He owned that frozen river and he just jumped right into it. Man, he must have been so cold. Like, it's crazy watching that because, like, with our modern eyes, you would think like, oh, it's CGI or it's a set. Or
they did it in a studio,
right? No, no, it's on location. It's his own land. He paid to have himself freeze in his own river.
So Jeremiah Johnson, a movie that probably most of our well, no, that's not true. I was gonna say probably most of our listeners haven't seen.
Our listeners,
but our listeners probably have seen it. But this movie is what most people know as the meme of Zach Galifianakis nodding. But it's not Zach Galifianakis nodding. It's Robert Redford nodding.
Wait, what? I've never heard it called Zach Galifianakis. It's not him. It's Robert
Every
Redford.
time I see it, I think it's Zach Galifianakis nodding. Because Robert Redford looks like really fat. And it's just his beard, but he looks fat. Like,
Are you okay? I don't think anyone calls it Zach Galifianakis nodding.
For a long time, I thought that was the meme. It was Zach Galifianakis nodding. No, I had no idea it was from Jeremiah Johnson.
I know,
a movie which I had seen.
I had the opposite effect. Like, I was just thinking as I watched it today, I was like, oh, you know what? That's so weird. Because to me, that meme has always been fun because it's Jeremiah Johnson, right? Like, to me, having grown up, having seen this movie like as early as I can remember.
I've read actual articles on the internet that are talking about how, no, that's not Zach Galifianakis. So I'm not the only one who thinks this.
But all I can say is, to me, that's why that meme was cool, because it's Jeremiah Johnson. And I'm like, yeah, look at him nodding. That's what he does. But as I watched this movie again, preparing for this podcast episode, I was like, I had a realization. I was like, whoa, most people don't know that meme is Jeremiah Johnson. They don't even know who that is. They just think it's a guy nodding. And I was like, how can that be meaningful to anyone who hasn't watched this movie and seen Robert Redford just like throwing himself around in that water? Is it actually the most thorough and greatest and most uncalled for whitewashing of a horrible murderer in all of history? Because I've heard some things about Jeremiah Johnson that I didn't know before.
To introduce our theory, I'm going to talk about a screenplay that one of my friends wrote, and it was a very good horror screenplay set in like in the mountains in the 1800s, Wild West times.
So far, I'm sold. This sounds good.
And it was called Bitter Root, a screenplay that deals with the mythos of the Wendigo and how a person who's stuck out in a survival situation might become a cannibal and then transform into a horrible creature. In this screenplay, when they're talking about cannibalism, they reference Liver-Eatin Johnson. And I had no idea who that was. And I had watched Jeremiah Johnson growing up. And some of the things they said about Liver-Eatin Johnson sounded like Jeremiah Johnson. And so I looked up Jeremiah Johnson, and it led me to Wikipedia, where the entry is called Liver-Eatin Johnson.
Uh-oh.
So, why doesn't he get his real name? And I'm like, what? I watched the movie. He never ate anyone. He didn't eat anyone's liver. But apparently that's what he's most known for. Mm-hmm. And that's crazy to me that everyone didn't watch Jeremiah Johnson as a kid, I guess. Because I watched this movie and I know him as Jeremiah Johnson. He's like an American folk hero. You know, he's not some like horrible cannibal who killed 300 Native Americans and supposedly ate their livers out of revenge.
Well, his name was not, Liver-Eatin Johnson. Apparently, his name was also not Jeremiah Johnson. His name was it was John Garrison. That was his name. And he went by John Garrison until he ditched the army. He went AWOL, and then he changed his name so that he wouldn't have to answer for that. So then he went by Jeremiah Johnson after that. And when they made a movie about him, they just didn't incorporate the most well-known myth and legend, which is that he eats people's livers. So I don't know. I think that's kind of weird that they didn't include that, but probably a good choice because it's not really a movie about a guy who eats livers.
I had a weird Mandela effect finally getting to the end of this movie. I thought this movie ended with him leaving the mountain and joining a war and dying in the war. And then there was a shot of like one of those military cemeteries, with all the graves, with tons and tons of graves. And he was one of them. Oh. That's how I thought this movie ended. It doesn't end like that at all.
No, I don't
He just like sees the Crow Chief and he just like, sup. And Crow Chief's like, yeah, you all right, dude. You're good.
Yeah. What did you confuse this movie with?
I believe I was confusing an actual real world memory for the end, because I know that one time our dad drove us somewhere in LA when we were visiting our grandpa in SoCal.
Southern California.
He drove us past one of these military cemeteries in California and told us Jeremiah Johnson is buried there.
Whoa.
And my memory of that is kind of vague, but I think
that's where the movie ends.
I was like, well, if he's buried in like this, he must have gone to war again.
Well, dude,
and died.
That's got to be true, because after the movie came out, people sort of started to care about Jeremiah Johnson again. So they launched a big campaign, and there was tons of uproar about it. And they finally got enough attention and actually got his body dug up and then reburied where it should have been buried, in Wyoming. At that funeral, Robert Redford was the chief pallbearer. So he showed up and he's like, I'm going to carry this guy because I am him. He's me. Yeah. I'm like, that's a little odd, but cool. Good for you, Robert Redford.
Yeah. Yeah. So it turns out he actually was buried in a veteran cemetery in LA. Yeah. So that part is true. Okay. But later he was moved to Wyoming in 1974. Mm-hmm. Now I'm thinking that probably our grandpa told our dad that he was Jeremiah Johnson was buried in that cemetery. And I'm sure our dad showed us this movie just because his dad had showed him this movie.
Yeah, probably.
Right. And I'm pretty sure that by the time my dad took me to this cemetery in the 90s, Jeremiah Johnson wasn't there anymore. He was in Wyoming. They moved his body. But our dad probably didn't know that.
To be fair, he did have a grave there at one time, right? Like,
yeah.
There was one famous critic who, in her review for the movie, she infamously panned Jeremiah Johnson. So it released to universal praise. Everyone loved it. Like, people, they were raving about it. It's hard to find a bad review for this movie.
What? An intermission? Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. They were just like, this is my jam. This is what I want. Except for one critic named Pauline Kael. And she hated this movie. She despised Jeremiah Johnson. She couldn't say enough negative things about it. She thought it was just like a disgraceful movie. She thought it was stupid. She thought it had too much action, too much brutality. She thought that it was basically justifying the main character's horrible actions by, giving him, a reason to do it with his revenge, his whole vengeance story. She's like, that's dumb. The best part is, in her review, her main criticism of the movie was she really, really went hard on the end of the movie. And she was like, I can't believe how they ended this movie after this guy, this Jeremiah Johnson, does all these bad things. Yeah. She says, and then the chief of the Crows, recognizing Jeremiah's courage, makes a peace sign to end the war. Jeremiah signals him back, giving him the finger. So she thought that Jeremiah Johnson... But she thought that Native American showed up and Jeremiah Johnson turned to him and then just stuck his middle finger up like, F you, idiot, I'm coming for you next. And she was like, oh, man. Oh, what a horrible way to end the movie. And
that would be a horrible way to end the movie.
Well, afterwards, she of course, everyone was like, what is wrong with you, Pauline Kael? That's not how the movie ended. And she tried to blame it on her glasses. She was like, well, I wasn't wearing my glasses at the time, so I didn't know he wasn't flipping the guy off. Apparently, Robert Redford, he was dumbfounded by this. His quote was about this interview. He said, "That was absolutely mind-boggling. The gesture," he's talking about what he did when he raised his arm in a gesture of peace. The gesture was an ad-libbed response to the frustration of the pain and confusion that the character was experiencing and just continuing. It indicated a respect for the enemy. It was a salute of respect, but also frustration of the knowledge that the hunt would never end. And that criticism was especially painful to me," says Robert Redford, "because of my feelings and concerns for the American Indian. The remark seemed so far-fetched and personal, beyond the limits of responsible criticism." So I think Robert Redford really, really ripped her a new one. But the funny thing is, I actually read her original interview, and in the interview, she has put an asterisk there. And underneath it, there's a footnote where she tries to justify it, and she actually doesn't blame it on her glasses here. She says,
Oh.
"When I saw the film, it seemed implicit that Jeremiah was going to go on killing Indians, and the audience laughed cynically at his salute. Their laughter may have influenced my interpretation of his movement," as though the script had him continue with the killing. The director says that he finished on the gesture so that the end would be ambiguous. So that was her justification. She's like, "Well, everybody laughed, so I thought he was flipping the guy off. I don't know." I'm like, "Geez, lady, do your job. Everything you wrote was wrong. What's wrong with you?" Anyway,
well, I like that. I like that that review.
yeah, she gave a pretty good review.
That'd be an interesting ending.
Okay, well, let's talk about the actual theory here. So, what is our theory about this movie?
The theory is just that Jeremiah Johnson was a murderer and a cannibal. And we're also going to talk about the movie, which has nothing to do with the theory.
No.
Because there's no cannibalism in the movie.
Well, there might be. I mean, I've got my own interpretation of it, but...
Okay. Well, I guess, knowing what we perhaps know about Jeremiah Johnson, we can look at the movie and see how things might be reinterpreted. The plot of this movie, it's interesting because it's structured in a 2-act structure. And if you know anything about screenwriting and writing for movies, most movies are structured in 3 acts.
I think this movie was structured in 3 acts. I'm just going to say
Well, see, here's the thing. It doesn't really matter if it's structured in 2 acts or 3, because all movies are going to have basically the same beats as it goes through. And what act they're in honestly doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But it is interesting, I think, that this movie is structured in the first act. He basically becomes a mountain man and finds his family.
Yes.
Second act, he goes on a vendetta, vengeance, basically.
Well, and I agree, but I would have split that first act into 2. I would have said first act, learning to be a mountain man. Second act, building a family. Third act, vendetta, right? Like that's how I see it.
Yeah, no. And like I said, pretty much all movies, even if you say they're 1, 2, 3, or 4 acts, they have all the same beats. So basically, that is the plot of this movie. He wants to be a mountain man. He doesn't seem to be particularly social. Finds a son, finds a wife, and then they are both killed. And then Jeremiah Johnson kind of goes on a vengeance spree. Although in this movie, his vengeance is more reactionary. Like his first act is to go and kill the people who did it, and he does that. After that, it's like people are coming like the predators to prove themselves by killing, Jeremiah Johnson, and he just kills them all in self-defense.
So he went after them, and then he slaughtered every Indian in that party except for one.
He let one go.
And he was hoping they would send more after him, right? Like that was his plan. He was ready for it. He did it on purpose. He's like, "Go tell your tale.
So it was sort of
after you guys."
The lazy man's vendetta. He's like, "I'm not coming after you, but you can come and get me."
Come after me. Yeah, exactly.
So I just thought it was interesting that I think if this movie was done now, or if it was done by like Tarantino, or even if it had been done then, but by Clint Eastwood, which is who they originally, I think, wanted to play him.
They originally cast him as Clint Eastwood.
I think they would have done it in 3 acts, and the end of the first act would have been his family gets killed, and the rest of the movie would have been the vendetta.
Yeah, fair. I agree. They probably would have had the killing of his family happen a lot earlier.
They did it more in a slice of life kind of way with Sidney Pollack, the director.
First and foremost, I want to say it's clearly a product of its time, right? It's a very 70s movie. 70s movies love doing that. They love having just long stretches of like, this is the life of the character. and that's all like, 40, 50, 60 minutes of the movie is. It's just you getting a feel for how the character lives. There's a lot of movies that came out in the 70s that do that. So yeah, I agree. I think
Cheech
nowadays.
and Chong.
Yeah, whoa. I mean, kind of, yeah. I was thinking more like Silent Running. I'm actually like a huge fan of that style when a movie just like decides, like it's not just slow, it's like purposefully slow. It's like aggravatingly slow. Like when a movie looks you in the eyes and says, I'm going to punish you for watching me. That's my kind of movie, right?
That's what you like.
I love it, man. I'm like, this is a movie I can get down with. When a movie doesn't know it's punishing me, when a movie thinks it's actually good, but it's not, that's when I get mad, right? But when a movie knows, it knows that it's just dragging its feet, then I'm happy. I love that. The first major event that happens in this movie, we've got the setup, right? He rolls into town. He moves into the mountains for unknown reasons, and that's okay, right? We don't need to know what happened to Jeremiah Johnson before this. And I think that's cool. I think it's fine. He's a man with no name.
No
He's a
flashbacks.
Man with no past. He's just doing his thing.
If Disney did this movie, it would have started when Jeremiah was born.
Whoa. No, it would have started now, and then we would have immediately, like 10 seconds later, had a flashback of when Jeremiah was born.
When he was born.
Probably a flashback within that flashback too. But Jeremiah Johnson, he has chosen, for whatever reason, he has chosen that he's going to live in this mountain. He's going to live here. He's not good at it. He doesn't know how to do it, but he wants to live here. And he sees crazy old Bear Claw Chris Lapp, and he sees this crazy, senile, gun-waving old man, and he's like, his eyes grow wide with adoration, and he's like, that is what I want to be.
That's who I want to be.
Like, he sees the ideal man in front of him, and he's like, I aspire to be you. And then that's what he does. He spends months just hanging out with crazy old Bear Claw Chris Lapp and learning everything he knows.
Well, for the most part, I remember all the scenes where something happens, but I just don't remember the long sequences in between. Well, it's so weird that my brain edited a version of this movie that is better than the movie itself, and I wish that I could somehow get that version.
I mean, it's like when you're driving, you don't remember the driving. You remember where you were and you remember where you are, but you're not going to think and be like, and then I drove, and then I drove, and then I drove, and then I drove, right?
Well,
like you edit that part out.
This time, though, when I watched it as an adult, I was like, oh, and then I drove, and then I drove, and then I drove.
Wow.
So I very vividly remember the scene where Chris Lapp comes running into the house and jumps out the window with a bear chasing him, just because he wants Jeremiah Johnson to kill this bear for him, which presumably Chris Lapp does all the time.
Yeah, no,
he's kill bears.
He's mad. He's mad at Jeremiah Johnson, and he's making a joke because Jeremiah Johnson was cocky. Jeremiah was like,
he said, I can skin almost anything.
No, he said, I can skin anything. So Chris was like, hey, can you skin a bear? And then he's like, you bring me a bear, I'll skin it. And then Chris is like, all right, I'll bring you a bear. I'll bring you one. And he brings him a live bear. And he's like, you skin that, Jeremiah Johnson. I'll bring you more. He's a funny guy.
But it's not a good joke because it's a grizzly bear.
Right.
In most situations, Jeremiah Johnson would die.
Well, I mean, this is the ultimate test, right?
I do very vividly remember the scene where he finds the gun he always wanted in the hands of a frozen man.
Sorry, I did gloss over
somehow
that. He gets his legendary gun.
Yeah, he has this legendary gun he really wants. He didn't quite get the one he wanted, and then he finds a frozen man just up in the mountains who has the legendary gun. And not only that, who wrote a note and pinned it to himself saying, hey, take my gun.
Finds me, this is your gun. It's so good. Well, and that gun is legit legendary because then later when he meets
it's like
another
straight
guy,
out of like Dungeons and Dragons kind of moment. Like you found the magical weapon that you wanted.
He meets another guy
just because you searched through an old skeleton.
And the guy sees the gun and recognizes it, and he's like, whoa, hey, ain't that old Hatchet Pete's gun? It's like, it's a legend. People know that gun. It's so good. maybe this is the first steps of his descent into madness and into doing some stuff that he wouldn't normally do. And this is where he learns to survive by eating human livers, right? So to me, I kind of saw this scene as a little bit almost metaphorical. Like Jeremiah Johnson, he's having a hard time surviving. He can't catch a fish. He can't do anything. He's literally starving. He's got nothing. Then he meets this old man. They have a conversation. I think that whenever they say the word grizzly, they really mean the word human. And this is just like Jeremiah's brain blocking out the word that he doesn't like. Yeah. So
there's no proof for that, though. They're definitely referring to grizzlies, right? He doesn't say like there are no animals here or anything.
Well, that's the thing is the very first conversation he has with this guy, Jeremiah Johnson, he's talking to him and he's like, what are you doing out here? There's no animals in this entire valley. And then old man Chris is like, nope, ain't been on for nigh on 5 seasons now. And then he turns to Jeremiah and he's like, but that's not what I hunt. I hunt grizzly. And I think that's where Jeremiah's brain kind of replaces the word he doesn't like with a word he finds more morally acceptable, right? I think maybe Chris Lapp has been surviving out here where there are no animals by hunting the passerbys, by hunting the humans. It's very telling to me that in a movie about a historical man who is known for eating livers, right? Jeremiah Johnson goes into Chris's cabin. He sees all these grizzlies skinned and chopped up and hanging everywhere.
Man.
They're all over the cabin.
A serial killer's cabin.
Exactly.
Oh.
Well, and that's kind of what it feels like, right? Like he meets this crazy old man out in there, and the old man's like, come to my cabin. Come on, we'll see what happens. And the old man's like, make yourself at home, Jeremiah. I'm going to go do some chores. And then Jeremiah just runs over to a raw, hanging gristly liver, grabs it and starts chomping on it like he's just eating this raw grizzly liver.
Maybe.
And it's clearly a liver. Go and watch that scene. It's not a haunch, like it doesn't have a big bone sticking out of it. It's a big chunk of dark spongy meat. Maybe he then hung out with Chris Lapp and Chris Lapp taught him to survive eating human livers. I don't know. To me, it was symbolic when he burned his cabin down after his family died. He's like, I don't care about thriving anymore. I don't care about anything. I'm just going to kill whatever person I find and eat them, kind of. And I think he becomes Liver-Eatin Johnson after that. And I think this is shown when, at the very end of the movie, after all this time, he randomly runs into Chris Lapp again. It's like, What the heck? What's Chris Lapp doing here? Isn't he dead by now? He's an old man. So I don't know. I think this is kind of his way of saying his past came back to haunt him, and he fell back into his old ways. And the conversation they have at the end is very. I mean, they're not talking about eating humans, but they are talking about regret. They're talking about, if you read between the lines, their whole conversation is just about the regret they have in their lives. And Chris is like, basically, Jeremiah, you don't have to do this. You don't have to be here. And then Jeremiah just shrugs it off. And his only comment is just like, what year is it? Is it March or April? I think it's April. And then Chris is like, no, it's March. It's nicer down there in March, but some people don't like it nice. And that's it. And to me, that's kind of just Jeremiah Johnson, like completely losing track of everything. And he's done. He doesn't know what year it is. He doesn't know what month it is. He doesn't want any of the good, stuff in springtime he could have back down in town. He's just here to eat livers and that's it. So
that scene where he meets Chris Lapp again toward the end of the movie is the only scene that hints that he might be eating human flesh. And you pointed this out to me.
Ooh,
because
I did?
Yeah, you did. You sent me the clip and you said, dude, he does talk about being a cannibal.
Okay.
Because Chris Lapp walks up to Jeremiah Johnson, who's cooking something on a stick.
True.
And we don't know what it is, but it's on a stick over a fire. Could be anything. And Chris Lapp says, what's on the spit? And then Jeremiah Johnson says, go in particular?
Yeah.
As like, what? You don't like eating humans anymore?
Yeah, exactly.
Or are you picky? Go in particular. And then Chris Lapp says, not about feeding, just the company I keep. Meaning, I'm not particular about what I eat, but if you're a cannibal, I don't want to sit down and eat with you.
With you. Exactly. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
And I don't see how that could be anything but them implying that, like, their only reference to the Liver-Eatin Johnson thing.
Yeah, it's true. there's no reason for Chris Lapp to be asking, what are you eating? And is it okay to sit down with you? Right? Unless they're implying he's a cannibal.
Especially when if you look at what he's eating, it is very obviously a rabbit. Like, and Chris Lapp would know that because he's lived on these mountains. He's eaten rabbit. It's obviously a rabbit. He just wants to tell Jeremiah, I've heard about what you've been doing.
Mm-hmm. If they made a movie about George Washington chopping down trees and they never say what kind of trees they are, I think the implication is that they're cherry trees, right? Like the one thing he's known for. The only thing and nothing else is that he chopped down a cherry tree. I don't know what else he's known for, but that's the one thing I know that he's known for. No, I don't know. I think if you make a movie about a person who is known for one particular thing and then you don't address that thing specifically, but you leave the interpretation, there, like he's still killing people. He's still killing Indians. There's a few scenes where, they question the things that he's eating. I think it makes sense. I think they didn't want to necessarily put it out there in the open that he's a cannibal, but they did want to maybe, leave a little reference in there.
The Wikipedia article for Liver-Eatin Johnson, as far as I can tell, seems to follow the movie pretty accurately.
Yeah. There's a story that the Blackfeet captured him because the Crow Native Americans had put a bounty on his head. So the Blackfeet captured him. And when they were holding him, he chewed through the rawhide handcuffs and then beat up the guard and then cut off the guard's leg and then ate it as like trail mix to keep him going as he went after more crow.
And he was like stripped naked when he did all this.
Yeah. He didn't need no clothes.
The story you told about him escaping being prisoner, the Wikipedia page says that sometimes that story is attributed to Boone Helm.
Oh.
And so I was like, who's Boone Helm?
Yeah, who's that?
And I followed the link. And Boone Helm, sometimes known as the Kentucky Cannibal, was an actual serial killer who lived around the same time period. And this guy was crazy. Like, he basically was just killing and eating people his whole life. And it's like confirmed way more than for Jeremiah Johnson. And he even confided in several people. He's like, yeah, pretty much every person I killed, I probably ate a little bit of them too.
Oh, no. Jeez, Boone Helm, what's wrong with you? Oh, no.
And he escaped from like being hung so many times. Eventually, justice caught up to him. But what I found odd was that his Wikipedia article is titled Boone Helm, not the Kentucky Cannibal.
Yeah, what?
Yet for some reason, Jeremiah Johnson's Wikipedia article is Liver-Eatin Johnson.
That's ridiculous.
One thing I did notice in the movie is that any time the Crow tribe is about to show up, you hear a crow.
Whoa, that's cool.
And I just think that's kind of odd. Like they're not actually crows. You know that, right?
No, they are. They like control the crows, I think. I don't know.
He does hear a crow shortly before he runs into the crazy lady whose family was murdered. And then her surviving son, she gives to him, and that becomes his son. He calls him Caleb. Who knows what his real name is because he does not talk. Although later on in the movie, and I didn't notice this as a kid, he always moves his mouth like he might be talking or whispering or something, but you can't hear him. But Jeremiah Johnson actually like understands him when he does that. So, I mean, like, that's one thing I like about Jeremiah Johnson. When he gets his family, his son can't talk and his wife doesn't speak English. So he makes that joke about like, oh, you guys don't go bothering me now. When neither one of them is going to say a word. But then we flash forward several years after they've become a real family and he can speak flathead to his wife, Swan. And also he understands his
Caleb.
Nonverbal son, Caleb.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was kind of
Jeremiah
cool.
was a good father and husband. Way to go. So Josh Albee, who is the actor who played Caleb, he talked about actress Alan Ann McLary, who played his mother, the crazy woman. He said that she never, ever broke character, even off camera. She was a method actress, and her thing, her thing in Hollywood was she was always the crazy lady. Like that was her character.
Well, she did it very well.
She did. She was good at it. They were trying to film a scene and it was supposed to be snowing in the scene, but the snow kept stopping. And every time the snow stopped, they would have to yell out cut, and then they'd stop and reset. And I guess Robert Redford was getting frustrated, and he's like, he turns to the kid and he's like, hey, let's run lines together. And then they were just riding the horse around, and he's gonna run some lines while they're doing that. And then apparently he says he just laid out this chuckle like Jeremiah Johnson would, and goes, hey, I just remembered, you ain't got no lines. Like, whoa.
Whoa. Good job.
Let's run lines with the kid who has 0 lines. I feel like you could make a really cool anime about him, just like a TV show about him. He feels like an anime protagonist, like accidentally becoming this avenging warrior and gaining a wife and a kid purely by accident. Like he didn't want them, but now he's stuck with them. And his wife is a total tsundere. She's like complete, like, oh, I don't like you. Oh, I don't care about you. Here, have some of this disgusting food I made. Right? Like,
yeah, idiot.
Yeah, exactly. She pretends to ignore him all the time, and he hates the food, but he has to pretend he likes it. That Crow Indian that he leaves alive in the hunting party that he tracked down. So he kills them all. He's about to kill that last Indian. That last Indian gets up on his knees and starts singing a war cry or whatever he's doing, and then and then that guy, that Native American, must think that his voice has magical powers, because from his perspective, it just makes crazed, insane, savage Johnson go turn around, lay down, and fall asleep. Like he must just be like, "Wow, my voice did that."
Are you telling me his voice doesn't have magic powers?
Well, maybe it did. I don't know.
That's how I watched it.
It sure seems like it. I really loved one of the final confrontations he has with a Crow Brave, where he gets hit and then he takes the hit and falls down like he's dead. And then he lays there and literally watches the Brave, the Crow, approach him in the reflection in his horse's eye so that he can see him getting closer. He knows exactly when to turn around and shoot. And I was like, whoa, that's so anime. That is so cool. Like that is hardcore. Jeez.
And he still gets hit anyway. Like he kills the guy, but he gets hit.
Jeremiah Johnson's a fantastic movie, and Robert Redford was one of the greatest actors of our time. I just think he's a cool guy, and I'm sad to see him go, but his legend will live on forever. And I gotta say, I gotta give credit to Robert Redford, because he may not have known it. In fact, I am 100% certain that he didn't know it. And he would not have cared if he did know it. But Robert Redford is actually, personally, one of the contributing factors for us starting this podcast. Because
that's true. Yeah, he did not know that.
No, and he wouldn't have cared if he didn't know. No, one of the movies that led to me wanting to sort of do this podcast, after watching All Is Lost, which is Robert Redford's 2013 survival movie.
We did an impromptu podcast before we had a podcast.
Yeah. No, I had a major theory about that movie. And honestly, I 100% believe my theory about that movie, especially going by the title of that movie. But it's a great movie. If you want to watch a true, like, tough as nails survival movie, I'm not talking about like survival horror. I'm not talking about like survive because a grizzly bear is going to kill you or because the wolves are going to kill you when you fall off of your ski lift. I'm talking about just like this movie shows bad things that could happen, and it shows what would happen if you actually tried to survive those bad things. That is All Is Lost. That is a great movie. It is the honestly probably the best survival movie I've ever seen. I love that movie. It's very grim though. But anyway, at least my interpretation of it is very grim. It's a good movie though. I like it. Was he Liver-Eatin Johnson? Was he eating livers and taking names and also livers and eating them?
I mean, I guess Wikipedia wouldn't lie to me. So,
all right. Hey, if you liked it, remember, we got a Patreon. You can subscribe, throw a little bit of support our way. It means the world to us. If you do, you can watch all kinds of hilarious outtakes. We've got entire episodes up there of never before seen content. So go subscribe, give it a listen. It's fun. And always remember,
the popcorn isn't real.
In a world of shadows and dreams, nothing is quite what it seems. We're the fools in a midnight reel. The popcorn isn't real. Chasing clues through the silver screen, wishing for a tale that's unseen. Hold my hand through this hazy spiel. The popcorn isn't real. Behind the curtain, there's nothing to feel. The popcorn isn't real. Caught in a moment that will never heal. The popcorn isn't real. We craft a fiction within fiction's mind, searching for secrets we'll never find. Every clue just a future we steal. The popcorn isn't real. We whisper theories, but they all fade. A fleeting ghost in a midnight parade, holding on to that surreal's appeal.